Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 66 of the Xbox Hall of Gamers podcast. This week, I am joined by the somewhat underwater Charlotte.
Hi.
And the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Firehawk Shane.
Hello. I'm not underwater. It's snowing.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's that's just the other version of the water.
Exactly. And I'm Steve.
The far more manageable version, to be fair.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, at least you can shovel it. This week, there's fuck all to talk about, to be honest. So we're probably going to look at the Xbox showcase because there's quite a few interesting things from there. But otherwise, news-wise, it's pretty quiet. So we'll talk about the Xbox stuff. We'll talk about a little bit of Game Pass things and what we've been playing, and then we'll wrap it up nice and early. Probably. We'll see how it goes. Yes, as Cameron points out, yes, Charlotte is role-playing the Sinking City.
Well, we currently don't have water at our house, mainly because they've switched it all off at the road due to damage to the underwater piping. So there's that. And last night was very fun. We were just trying to get water out of the flooding in the garage. It was fine once we got the pump and started actually getting rid of the water, but it was definitely an interesting night.
Yeah, I went out for dinner and then nearly almost didn't make it back. And I was like, oh, okay, that was probably not the smartest idea.
Yeah, I was going to say that you were a bit dumb doing that, but I was like, I think he already knows that.
Come on, I didn't, I was meeting up with friends. I didn't want to disappoint them. I mean, they almost didn't make it,
weather.
So I mean,
yeah, okay.
I'm telling you, use some of my Patreon money and get a boat.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
All gamers kayak.
McBoaty face.
Yeah, exactly. Body McBoat face, exactly. Yeah,
Taken, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we'll call it the Unsinkable 2 or something. Yeah, actually, that's a great use of
City 2, Return of the Sink.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just waiting for the fish people to start coming out of the water, and other Cthulhu-esque stuff. What do they call those people again? I can't remember. Insamouths or something. I love the Cthulhu stuff. Some of those the Cthulhu games have actually been pretty good. I mean, like not like super high tier stuff, but I really enjoyed Call of Cthulhu and what was the other one? Sinking City, and then there was that.
Yeah, and then there's the third one. But what was the one that you played? And it's like you're a detective.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember what it was. It was the like the choose your own adventure one that was very, very strange.
And it was like a story, and you said the whole thing was just really weird.
It was very weird, but also like very self-referential and very funny. Definitely recommend it.
Yeah, the industry hit like a Cthulhu moment there for a second.
Yeah. It kind of sounds like Call of Cthulhu, but it's not that one. There's another one.
No, yeah, I
know what you're talking about.
It's like a real baby game because obviously it's like point and click, so there's like no real challenge to it.
So any listeners that work this out, tell us later if you actually remember us talking about this, because Matt has talked about this game last year. So if you remember vaguely what we're talking about, let us know.
It's the Innsmouth case is the game.
Okay.
So definitely recommend trying that out. It's like $15 or something, and it's like 1 to 2 hour completion. So, yeah, definitely check it out. Anyway, let's move on from the end of days to the fact that we do the show live on Twitch every week because we have our live audience sitting here and saying hi to us. Xbox Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. You can come hang out in the chat, say hi, ask questions. You can be like Cameron, basically just talking about the Cthulhu-esque situation we find ourselves in. But, you can talk about things that aren't, terrifying as well. Or you can just shit post, which is usually what happens. We've also got Admiral in here. Thank you for subscribing once again, Admiral.
20
we greatly
months.
Appreciate it. Yep, 20 months.
We're like both right up there. I reckon we're both close to being like the longest running Twitch subs.
That's true. Yeah,
because I've got 20 months as well.
Guys, just throwing money away. But hey, not that we don't appreciate it.
I've got to keep the badge. I can't.
Yeah, actually, that's the gamification does it for everyone.
Yeah.
But anyway, with that bullshit out of the way, let's transition to a song of the week that Charlotte thinks apparently is not that great.
Well, we'll see.
It was great.
Okay, ready? Here we go. If I can get it to play 1 second. There we go. Hang on one moment, callers. We've got technical difficulties. let me just correct this and start it again. Ready? Here we go.
Where it began, I know just the moment, and from then it's gone on strong. First the 360, and then the 1 in series, and who knows what is next to come. Achievements, earning score, playing more, the milestones, the completions, sweet game score.
Bum, bum, bum.
Achievements always well, I was going to include that, but I thought that might make it like too obvious.
I've been humming it since you sent it to me. Trying not to hum it out loud.
To achieve
Is it North Carolina or South Carolina there, Shadowless?
And that's it. There we go. But to be honest, this is a very easy one this week.
Yes, yeah. It's okay, look, I will say I did not have a lot of inspiration this week because I haven't been playing anything that's really jumped out at me. But this is a song I've been wanting to do for ages. Because the best thing about the song is that no one knows any lines outside of the chorus. So as long as I get it somewhat in tune when I get to that part, people will figure out what it is.
And
so.
just everyone's going
I'm not going to say I couldn't figure it out till then, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny because obviously, you know, behind the curtain, we can't hear the song over the stream. We have to listen to it ourselves.
Yeah, I'm the only one that can hear it when it is playing. So
we have to play it. We have to play it manually.
Yeah, so it has to be played through my desktop audio because we can't play it through the Zoom call essentially. So just for background information, this is what you guys get to know about now: is that Shane and Matt don't actually have to get to hear it. So if they talk over the song, there's nothing I can do about it.
That's fine. I can just mute it afterwards. But yeah, but like, because I usually just play it at the same time, but I've heard it so many times now that I just basically, whenever we do these segments, I just hear keyboard cat in my head now, just going dun 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 dun, because you know it's a cat. Anyway, yes. So it is. Well, yeah. So do we know what the song is?
Yes.
Shane,
Sweet
we'll
Caroline.
go with you because.
I thought it was
okay.
Salty
No, sings it.
Caroline.
Neil Diamond would be very proud of you.
I mean, well,
Neil Diamond,
yeah,
right?
Yep. Neil Diamond is correct.
It is
Well
Neil
done.
Diamond.
Not to be confused with Neil Gaiman.
Or Nile Sapphire.
Yes, Nile Sapphire. Yeah, the Nile. Good job. Cameron's like, yeah. He just says Caroline. He just says Caroline. It's like, yeah.
Just Caroline. Just outright.
I don't know.
Caroline.
I don't know if that counts as close enough. But that's fine. Coraline. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. All right. Well, we don't really have any questions this week. I think Isaac is taking the week off after asking a double up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I'm just looking here. We do have one question here from Firehawk that says, "How do you get your hair to look so good?" Firehawk, how do you respond to that?
Yeah, Firehawk. How do you respond to Firehawk's question?
Yeah, you got to really, get into that daily regime. You shower every morning. You put a little. The secret is you put a little like lotion, like body lotion in your hair. It uses a product. It helps a lot. It doesn't get as crusty. It's got to get the trim.
I'm just writing down
question by a very handsome user.
I'm just gonna
Char doesn't know
ignore
about
both
showering.
of you about talking about showers because that's something that I can't.
Yeah, but
have
Char
right
doesn't know
now,
about showers
so,
anymore. So.
Well, not for at least 48 hours, unless they go and visit someone and be like, "Hey, can I just use your shower for a quick second?"
Been there, done that.
True.
Dio asks, "Why is your favorite game Homefront?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a jerk. So
he is a jerk. Yeah, that is absolutely correct.
Correction, he's a troll.
Both.
Mm-hmm.
Both, maybe both.
Potentially.
Allegedly.
I'll just never tell you the truth about how he actually is. We've got to keep the mystery alive. Oh, here we go. There's a question in chat. Wait, hang on. I've lost sound. Why have I lost sound?
I can hear you. If that
Matt,
helps.
I've lost sound from Matt. Can you?
Yeah, I can't hear Matt.
Okay, Matt, you have lost sound. Technical difficulties.
Testing. Can you hear me?
There we
Is that
go.
working?
We've got you back now. There we
No?
go.
Okay, sorry. My new mic is a little bit finicky. I'm trying to not futz with it too much. Yes, so we do have a new question here from Cameron saying, how would you feel about the first game you ever played getting achievements in 2023? Oh, boy.
I think what the first game I ever played was.
I mean, the first game I did play technically did get achievements because it was the original Crash Bandicoot. So when they remastered
That was your
it,
first game?
first game I ever played. Yeah, I was
Wow.
quite late into gaming. My parents tried to not I mean they tried their best to make me an outside kid that did things, but the call of the PlayStation was too much.
See, imagine if Commander Keen got achievements, then I'd be in for that.
They were remaking that at some stage, and then it just got shit canned quietly. So, yeah, it was like Crash Bandicoot. It was like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro with like the two first ones that I played because I didn't get a PlayStation until like right at the end of right before the PlayStation 2 came out. I think it was like 99 maybe. So I would have been 7 years old or so, and so like I didn't really play anything before that.
Okay.
I was going outside
They both
and
have achievements now.
yeah, right. And like the Spyro trilogy is like amazing. Like
Yeah.
going back and playing that is really
It's
great. And
so
then
good.
going back and playing the Crash trilogy is like pulling your hair out.
Although
also
it's a baby game.
Never
according
touching
to
that.
Dio, so like, you know.
I'm not doing it. I'm not.
Again, he's a troll. We already went over that.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm not falling for
We're not
that
touching.
bullshit.
I'm not touching that ever.
Fair. See, I already started it, so I have no choice.
Yeah, that's Yikes.
Yikes.
The
And then
things
you
you do when you're dating someone before you start achievement hunting.
Yeah. You live and learn, right? And the gamer tag never lets you forget.
Nope.
God, my first game definitely hasn't gotten achievements. I think it was Pitfall on the Atari. Was the first game I played. I think the second one probably was Gauntlet, and I know that has achievements because I've completed it. So
Nice.
I don't know if I'd want to do the original Pitfall with achievements. That sounds awful. Unless there's a baby list, then I'd be fine with it.
Could be interesting though.
I mean, you did have to play like a mini version of Pitfall in, was it Marvel Ultimate Alliance? There was that bit where they just chuck you into an arcade machine because Activision owns it all.
God, was it? It was. Yeah. I think it might have been Ultimate Alliance 2, maybe.
No, I'm pretty sure
I
it
don't
was
know.
one.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Because it's when you're fighting arcade and you go into the fun land or whatever. Because I was playing through it.
It probably would be the first one. I've heard of it, but I haven't played it.
Yeah, and so there's just a part where they're just like, oh yeah, you have you need to rescue Jean Grey or whatever, so you have to go into the arcade machine, and they make you play Pitfall, but obviously they've just superimposed the character from the game in there, and you have to try and it's really fucking bad. But
that makes sense because wasn't Ultimate Alliance Activision?
Yes, it's all Activision.
I think so.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they own all that shit, so it doesn't really matter. But actually, they're quite a fun game. The second one is like a lot more polished, but not as fun. But the Civil War stuff is kind of cool. Yeah, I'm just trying to think about like early games with achievements. I mean, Cameron is obviously referring to the fact that GoldenEye basically came out. Yeah, don't do too much of that. We'll get copyrights, right?
It's okay if it's like a short snippet.
Yeah, fair use.
I did it. It's under 7 seconds. You're fine.
Exactly. It's transformative work. Yeah, I think that I love old games getting achievements because it gives me a good reason to go back and play them. Like I can think of so many things from my like PlayStation 1 days that are like I'd love to go back and play some of that stuff. Like getting to do Abe's Odyssey again when they redid it was great because I was like I loved that game as a kid. It was way too hard as a kid and it's still way too difficult as an adult. But I did manage to get through it.
I feel the same way about Resident Evil 4. I played that on the GameCube when it came out, and I didn't even make it past the first village. They like staked that guy and set him on fire, and then suddenly there were zombies everywhere. I'm like, you know what? I don't like this, and I never played it again until it came out with achievements, and I got around to it, and I've beaten it like what 3 times it's been released or whatever. So all those old games, you know, I love that.
Yeah, like I think that like that PlayStation 2, original Xbox and GameCube era is kind of perfect for that kind of stuff. I think because a lot of people who are kind of at the age now that we are at kind of have nostalgia for a lot of those games. and like re-releasing them and porting them and giving people a chance. Like last week I was talking about Okami is like a perfect example of that, right? It's one of those
That's on my list.
PlayStation 2 beloved games, and just putting achievements into it and giving people an excuse to go back and play it. I mean, I was going to talk about it in the games of the week, but I just talk about it now. Like I did like the last couple hours of that game, and it's absolutely fantastic. Has a real like emotional ending, and it's like you can see like a lot of the stuff that led into the like, Platinum Games future work that he worked on from Okami. It's just it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, the game needs a lock-on system, but other than that, it's a fantastic game. So highly recommend it.
Yeah, with those games, we talked about Resident Evil 4. You're talking about Okami. They need to release the other Capcom one, or was it? Yeah, Capcom. It's Beautiful Joe.
Beautiful Joe. Yeah, there's a Beautiful Joe reference in Okami. Because
they all came out at the same time.
Yeah, and Beautiful Joe's great. Yeah, there's a bit where you need to like paint different things for a kid because she's like, oh, I'm an artist, and you got to like paint things, and like one of them is like you do like a star and a heart, and then one of them is just a V, and then it's all just Beautiful Joe references for about 5 minutes. Henshin a Go-Go, baby. That game is so good. Again,
it's great.
Way too difficult, but also just fantastic.
See, a lot of those games, I feel like if I went back to, like, I'll be starting the Cowabunga collection soon, and all those games I played as a kid. And I've beaten the 3 NES ones. Well, sorry, the 2 NES ones, not the first one. Yeah. But I look forward. I'm actually gonna get to see that end of that game soon. Like, that's awesome. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Yeah,
it's a nice thing where it's like, you're bringing the games forward so more people can play them, and you can go back to them easier without having to dig out a console or pay a ridiculous amount for one, but also having the added benefit of getting achievements for it and not feeling like you're quote unquote wasting your time or whatever, depending on how you achievement.
No, you're wasting your time. I mean, if you're not getting achievements, I mean, what's the point? Like,
I mean, that's it.
How do you even game?
It's kind of hard, yeah. It's
right?
like we joke, but it's like when I'm like, oh, I kind of want to maybe play something on the Switch or something, and it's like, yeah, but I could be working on something that I get achievements for, and I have my whole backlog, and it's it does make it
I gave up even lying to myself about that.
Yeah.
See, I only play on my Switch now when I like have absolutely no access to my Xbox.
Right.
Yeah, which was over New Year's because we didn't have internet connection, so I couldn't actually play any games at all. So that's when I went back to my Switch. As soon as I was able to go back to my Xbox, I did, and I haven't touched my Switch again since then. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the Switch, the Switch is running in the background at the moment. It's been turned into a Pokemon machine, but outside of that, I don't think it doesn't get a huge amount of use. Man, I really wish they kind of Nintendo and Microsoft had worked more on that kind of like crossover stuff, right? Getting those games across on the system, because I know Ori was the only one that kind of got achievements.
It was Ori and Minecraft, and we thought it was gonna be like a thing, maybe, and then that was it.
Yeah, exactly. Any other suggestions in chat? I'm just saying, Karen puts up things like Futurama or like Simpsons Hit and Run. Like there are a lot of those sort of classic PlayStation 2 games that everyone played growing up. I'd love to go back and play. I mean, there's actually like a lot of stuff on like the Resident Evil 4 was a good one. I'm trying to think of anything else in that era. Like they redid Doom. I feel like most of them they've redone.
You're talking about Crash Bandicoot and Spyro. Those are my first PlayStation games. But my mom also brought along Tomba, which I would love to replay.
Oh
again.
my god, my favorite! Yes,
give me achievements because I played that before the achievement, like the internet really was a accessible thing. It was kind of a weird platformer. Like you kind of needed a guide to get through it. So I would love to go back and do that again with achievements. And then she also brought Mega Man Legends, which was also a great game.
Mega Man Legends is great. It's a shame they never got to the third one.
See, I love games like Parappa Rapper.
Oh yeah, Parappa the Rapper. Well, they did re-release
Parappa the Rapper,
so you can.
I have a wrapped version somewhere.
Yeah, I think there is like a digital version for it on the PlayStation.
Yeah, there is. I just wish it had come to Xbox because that's my childhood.
I think I think that is squarely a Sony franchise that probably won't ever.
Yeah,
I think it's like Little Big Planet.
I think he showed up in like PlayStation All Stars or something, which is like, there's like, oh
Yeah, he
well,
did.
shit, not showing up anywhere else then.
No. Which is like,
yeah.
it like makes sense, but also I'm like,
Yeah. Like man, Tomba, or it was called Tombi over here in the West, in the EU.
Yeah.
Well, because we get the PAL versions, so they called it Tombi for some reason. I have no idea why. Also had different intro music.
That was a weird game.
Very weird game. You basically a pink-haired wild child who gets his grandfather's bracelet stolen by a bunch of sentient pig demons, and you basically got to go hunt them down by jumping on them and biting them and then throwing them.
I don't think I ever got past like the first level. The game was hard, at least.
Yeah,
as I remember it, it was
as a
hard.
kid. Yeah, I remember because it was on the original like demo disc that came with the PlayStation, like the demo disc one, and so I played it to absolute death. And like my dad, I remember my dad telling me he was like, if I have to hear that fucking music again one more time, I'm gonna snap the goddamn disc in half, because it was that
and it repeats. It's really short and just over.
It's really
and over.
short. Yeah. Like even now I can hear it in my head. It's really fucking weird. But yeah, because like I played through the demo so many times, I was like, oh, this is a really cool, like interesting game. And then I saw it for like rental at like a back when game rentals was still a thing. And I picked it up and played all the way through it as a kid, and I was like, wow, this was before I like understood how big games were. I was like, oh, the demo is like the first like 3 or 4 areas. It's actually like quite a big demo. And I was like, yeah, there's like 12 areas in that game. It is a like relatively sizable game for a kid. And like, yeah, exactly. Like it was before like, internet guides were a huge thing. You didn't have like, I wasn't aware of like game facts and that kind of stuff, and it wasn't hugely established. So yeah. It was like, yeah, like trying to figure out things in that game was so strange. And there was a thing in the game where like if you climbed to the top of one of the mountains and found a secret area, you found a gem that turned your hair green and allowed you to basically, it turned your hair green, and then essentially you could jump and then use it as like a double jump. It would create a tornado below you, and you could just like basically cheat all of the platforming. And it was all like weird little shit like that. You just like don't find that in games anymore.
Well, you do in indie games. I mean, kind of what that space is filled
true.
with now.
Sorry, yes, yeah. Indie games are full of that kind of stuff because people grew up on it. But
yeah, and that's kind of where we wanted to go back to. And indie games like thrive off that kind of thing because they take the nostalgia. Like that tends to happen a lot when you've got like a really good indie game. It's because there's a lot of nostalgia behind it.
Exactly right. Like someone's like, I played this kind of game as a kid, and I wanted more of those, and they don't make these kinds of games anymore, so I decided to make one of my own.
Yeah.
Which is like that's the dream, right?
I always talk about how I love Dead Rising 2, like that whole era of that franchise, just the atmosphere and the way it felt. Like, when is that going to become old enough where indie developers are making that game? Because I'll play that all the time.
Dead Rising 2 is kind of the perfect point for that series, right? Like, I have more nostalgia for the first game, but the second game is like mechanically 110% better. Like,
just fun. I love the way it feels. I love how you can pick up almost anything in every store. Like, I know you can still do that in 3 and 4, but it was just different. It was grimier, and I don't know. 2 and Off the Record, that whole era had a very distinct feeling to it.
Playing Off the Record again with Nick a few weeks ago was really, really good, because it was like I played it on the 360 a long time ago and had a great time with it, and I'd also done the Games Windows Live version, but still a great feeling to like, it's like, well, I've got this knife, I've got this hunting knife, and I've got this boxing glove, and I'm just gonna
knife.
Exactly. And I'm gonna combine them into basically making Wolverine gloves. I'm just gonna slice through zombies for the next hour.
Literally the best weapon in the game. That's all you need.
That's all you need. Basically, you just it's the instant win button. Basically, you just make a shitload of those.
Every time you run by the MMA shop, you grab the knife on top of that sign and you some boxing gloves, and you go make another pair, and then you continue on until they break, and you make another one.
That was the funny thing, is that Nick had never played it before, right? Closed. And so he's like, okay. So I was like, I've got the guide for where the survivors are, okay. And I was like, okay. So and I was like, no, we're gonna go here, then we're gonna go here, then we're gonna go here, then we're gonna go here, and then we're gonna grab this, we're gonna make this, we're gonna make this. And then I was like, oh man, we need to get some steak. I'm pretty sure there's some over here. And I walk over there and climb up onto the top of the balcony. It's like, I didn't even know you could even get up there. And I was like, some things you just don't forget.
Yeah, I've got that game. I've done it 3 times now. I've got that ingrained in my head. That game is so good.
Yeah, I was going to go back and do the standard version on the Xbox One, but you got to do all that Terror is Reality multiplayer stuff, which is like, getting a group together for that's going to be a pain.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess that's questions for now. So let's maybe get into the news. There isn't a huge amount, like I said at the start of the show, but I figured we'd talk a little bit about the Xbox and Bethesda Developer Direct that came out earlier this week.
Developer _ Direct. Thank you.
Sorry, it's underscore direct. Apologies. The branding is very, very important. It does look like that. Like, it was quite short and sweet. There wasn't a huge amount like announced. They kind of just talked about it and moved on. Shot a couple of trailers they didn't faff about, which I think is kind of like, I actually kind of appreciated that format. Yeah, it's like, like we got the information we wanted to, like you can put it into an article and you kind of just move on with your life. So I guess the first thing they showed was the Minecraft Legends, which they announced a little while ago, being a kind of tactical, like RTS light style game. It looks interesting.
I didn't really give a whole lot with that first trailer, so I was really shocked to see what it actually is. And
right.
Yeah, they didn't really show like much sort of gameplay in their first trailer. There was like just that, like, it was very much a teaser. Yeah,
because well, basically, I believe it had like leaked beforehand, and everyone was like, "Oh, there's going to be a new Minecraft game," and so
it's like, okay,
well, considering the Minecraft branding, I thought it'd be like a baby game, like you just move around crowds, maybe just ram them together and see what happens. No, it looks actually really good.
Yeah, like it has a kind of, I don't know, like Overlord, like Pikmin-esque kind of, like, because it's like, or I don't know, Brutal Legend, kind of like where it's like it's an RTS,
Brutal
but
Legend's a good one.
You're like a unit on the thing, and you're kind of moving the things around you, so you're like interacting, and so you're not, eyeing the sky kind of thing. I think it actually looks like really good. Like I might actually play it, because I didn't bother with like Minecraft Dungeons because it wasn't. I heard it was like quite basic and also very repetitive.
See, that's kind of what I was basing my expectations for this game, because Dungeons is okay, but it's very basic. Like I played the arcade version and the Xbox version, and you just run forward and kill things. So when they showed this, I thought maybe you just pick an army and just ram it at each other until one of them dies. Something simple,
Sure.
But boy, no, not at all.
Yeah. As April 18th for that one, so actually not too long to wait. And it'll be good for them because I know that Xbox definitely needs some big releases for this year. So I'm hoping this one does well. They also showed more of Forza Motorsport as we very much expected. Those the tires are very round. I don't really have much to say because it's literally 100% what everyone is expecting, I think. It looks real good. I'm sure it'll go great. People will love it, or they won't. Very much not for me, but hey, I can totally understand it.
It looks pretty. You'll race some cars. There'll be some day-night cycles. I mean, I was gonna make a joke like, "Oh, it's a car game. I'll be back. I'll be right back. 1 sec."
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Just we'll just speed on by. Apparently, they're gonna have over 500 cars. That's gonna be the big one. 5 new tracks, 25 in total. 10 times as pretty. Yeah, exactly. Cool. Yeah.
I mean, we do like when a game is pretty.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna put it in performance mode anyway because FPS is more important than anything. But better than Gran Turismo 7. Well, I don't think that's going to be hugely difficult. And then, of course, there's the one that everyone is talking about, which is Tango Gameworks' new game, which literally came out of nowhere.
Evil Within 3.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, Evil Within 3. Which
cat.
Yeah, actually, like, I don't think we're never going to see Evil Within 3, unfortunately, because I feel like they just kind of.
I mean, apparently not. If this is kicking off as well as it did, then we're probably gonna see a sequel to this before we see a sequel to that.
Yeah. So Hi-Fi Rush, which had leaked a little bit, but this was the first time we'd seen it or really even heard about it. It's a sort of rhythm game, in this sort of cel-shaded style that kind of harkens back a little bit to like the early, like, Jet Set Radio, Jet Set Future kind of stuff. It's on game, like they were like, and it's out right now.
It's now, it's out on Game Pass now.
And people are fucking loving it. Like, people are just having like such a great time with it. I am I'm waiting for some people to finish it before I jump on it, but it is definitely like I put it in my play later list like straight away. It
the
looks really
art
good.
style looks amazing.
Yeah,
it's right up there.
It's
in
the
my
first
kind
game
of
I feel like it's. Yeah, I feel like it's one of the first games that really nail that playable cartoon look. Like it does. It doesn't have that weird. I don't know. Some of those playable cartoons when they're trying to go for that style, it's got like I don't know, a 3D-ness to it that doesn't feel quite right.
Yeah.
This looks like a cartoon that you're playing. It looks really good.
Yeah, it goes like beyond like cell shading and actually looks like a cartoon, right? And it's like it's not comic style or cartoon style. It just kind of is like and like I like that, like it looks really like fluid, like the motion doesn't look stilted or anything like that. So
yeah.
It looks like people have beaten it a few times now. So
Cameron mentions in chat like Pentiment, Hi-Fi Rush, like this kind of game is the kind of stuff that like you want to see on Game Pass.
Yeah.
Really could use a guide for Pentiment though. That would someone needs to write one of those because I have not found anything.
Game looks pretty though.
It does.
It does.
I did start it and did like the first little bit of it. Didn't get any achievements yet, but and then we got Elder Scrolls Online has a new expansion. I mean, I'm not even going to pretend to care, to be honest.
The cool part of that news was that they announced that all the DLC is like free now, besides this one coming out.
Yeah,
it's like 20 packs, so good for that's pretty cool.
Yeah, like it seems to be kind of the new way they go forward with this kind of stuff, right? Because like Destiny did something similar, right, where they were like giving away a bunch of their old stuff, and I think that I think a lot of these like developers have realized that like in order to keep people engaged in this kind of stuff, you basically need to start giving away the content because otherwise people aren't going to be like, well, why would I buy the new stuff if I have to pay for this old stuff that no one is playing, especially if it's an MMO. Cameron mentions it might be a timed thing.
Might?
Could be. I mean, it's a good incentive to get people back into it, I suppose. I know people who love the Elder Scrolls Online love that game. I probably if I didn't have an MMO, it might be one that I would consider, but considering Neverwinter is the sort of Damocles above me.
Imagine if you get into the same situation again though. Like
yeah, true. Well, yeah, apparently this would be very likely considering they're never stopping supporting this game apparently.
Yeah.
Oof, yeah, they really are. My Achievement Hunter friend has been trying to get me to start that forever, and I'm just like, that's not happening. He even got
already a commitment.
The Emperor achievement or whatever it's called. So, like, no, I'm good. Thanks.
You know, if everyone formed an orderly line to get the Emperor achievement, I'm sure it would work out just fine. You take a number and come back when it's your turn.
Yeah, that
But
totally.
unfortunately, things don't work quite that way.
No, they do not.
And then the was it the last one they talked about? I think was Redfall.
Yes.
Which is they've announced it's coming out 2nd of May, which sounds about
right.
Yeah, I mean, it looks good. I know that they were, when the game first came out or was first announced, and they were kind of like, oh, it's going to be like this called like squad-based shooter, and everyone's like, oh, like a live service game, and then it was like, oh no, it's more like Left 4 Dead, and everyone was like, okay.
I feel like they tried to distance themselves pretty quickly from the Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're like, oh, actually, no, it's not. It's not. It's
no, that's not.
Yeah, because they saw how Back 4 Blood went, and they were like, oh no, it's not that at all.
No.
Yeah, so like I'm kind of getting like more maybe like a Borderlands kind of feel from it, maybe.
Yeah, it's far more open world than it looked originally.
Yeah, right. Which I'm like, okay, so now I'm kind of like, okay, maybe I'm back on board.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, maybe I will give it a try because it also I think it really does depend on like what the solo experience is like for that game because a lot of what they've shown has been like team up with your buddies, 4-player co-op, etc., etc. But it's like I'm a miserable bastard, so I'll probably play it on my own. But then again, it's on Game Pass.
I think I can convince you to play it with me.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Destiny Strikes is kind of what Cam is pointing out. So I think maybe like sort of Destiny style, potentially having it like having like set strikes, but also potentially some open world stuff that's more Far Cry-esque or Borderlands-esque. I'm more interested in it after seeing this trailer than or this sort of deep dive as they put it. than I was beforehand. We probably, I mean, you know, depending on what the achievement list looks like, maybe we get a group together and we make this a game. I mean, I don't think there's not really much else coming down around like May. I don't think that I can kind of like is jumping out at me at the moment. I mean, again, we're still in January, so who knows what actually
and like
comes out.
The bigger games are going to be coming out in the next month or so. Like you've got Hogwarts Legacy next month. Persona's already all out, so that's good. I think it's nice the way that they've staggered it this first half of the year. Yeah.
Well, it's like anything that comes out like
packed.
They want everything to come out before the end of the financial year in March, right? So they like February and March are going to be packed with stuff, and then afterwards, like April and May are usually pretty quiet. So good time to release it. I mean, like I said, we've got 2 games. We've got so Minecraft Legends in April, right?
Yeah.
And then and
April
then
18th.
this in May, and then June, who knows? And then by that stage,
I mean, April's also Dead Island 2. I don't know if that's actually gonna be good
if it comes out. Yep.
June, you're getting into like that's when they start showing you everything because we'll have the
like E3 or
or whatever they have this year.
Yeah, that's kind of the news was that Microsoft was like, hey, we're gonna do a live show again for the first time in what 2-3 years now.
Yeah.
So
which is pretty
we'll be
cool.
back in LA or wherever that is.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine. I mean, they have the theater named after them, right? So they'll probably use that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad that it's coming back, and we're kind of seeing some more of that stuff. I mean, as much as I enjoy the Summer Game Fest, yeah, you know, like E3, that kind of, you know, summer season is a good time to get excited about games and see some new trailers and gives them stuff to announce for the coming gaming season when the horn gets blown in August when Madden comes out. But yeah, like I mean, gaming, like I feel like I say this every year, but I feel like gaming is looking a little light this year so far. There's a few, maybe we're getting like maybe like 1 release a month that I'm kind of interested in, but I'm hoping for a few more like sort of mid-tier Game Pass surprises, stuff like Hi-Fi and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, like I think we're gonna get a lot of like Shadow Drop stuff too, because like there was a lot of Shadow Drop stuff last year.
Yeah,
they just appeared and we're like, oh, okay, cool, right, that's cool.
I mean, I could be wrong, but Hi-Fi is like one of the most successful Shadow Drops. Usually, it's a Shadow Drop, and then that's the that's the news is it was Shadow Dropped, and then it disappeared.
And it's like, okay, cool,
like,
but this is like everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Age of Empires 2 console. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, that is coming out, but that is the list of people who still give a shit about Age of Empires 2, and then the list of people who are going to play it on a console is basically just you, Cameron, at this point. I'm afraid to tell you.
Yeah, but say Cameron is the crowd for it. So
yeah.
They're just Age of Empires is just being released just for Cameron.
I mean, look, I love Age of Empires 2. It's a fantastic game, but very few people who give a shit about it are going to play it on console. And then was it Inculinati? It's Illuminati with ink. Yeah, got it. Yeah, I mean that looks really interesting. Like it's like a tactics, like weird, like Pentiment but strategy. Yeah, well, like I think it's even weirder than that. It's like all the artwork. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that looks interesting. I don't think it's going to be like a major one, but I don't know. We still have a lot of stuff from Microsoft that we still haven't heard anything about for quite a while, you know. And actually sort of transition us to our sort of other thing that I was looking at. That there was a recent sort of interview with the head of Obsidian, Fergus Urquhart, basically saying that the acquisition by Microsoft kind of gave them a big chance to keep making big budget RPG games, but also how using Game Pass as their sort of vehicle for getting games out there has sort of changed their metrics for success, because they no longer look at sales primarily. They're also looking at like how many people are engaging with this product, like how much have you spent on the game versus how many players are actually playing it. The example he gives is like, I can't really spend $1 billion on a game that only gets played by 1 million people because not that many people are playing for their paying that much for their Game Pass subscriptions. But yeah, it was really interesting to kind of hear like they're like, oh yeah, it's great. It's like the fact that they got acquired means that they can still do things like Avowed, which is a game we haven't heard anything about for ages, but also do things like the Outer Worlds 2 and Pentiment all at the same time, along with continuing support for Grounded. Because even those are four wildly different games, they all have their kind of different audiences in Game Pass, and that Game Pass kind of has like a something for everything kind of mentality to it that allows them to spread out and do different things. Because I remember when like Pentiment got announced, everyone was like, "What the fuck is this?" Because it's so out of left field of being like, yeah, it's a side-scrolling game with no dialogue that's all based around
Well, it has dialogue, it just doesn't have audio.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah. No voice dialogue.
No voice dialogue, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's good to hear that even like, because we've heard a lot about how developers, most like indie developers, are like, yeah, Game Pass has been great for us, but it's nice to hear from some of the big boys as well, being like, yeah, even though we're owned by Microsoft and we're a big studio, like Game Pass is still hugely successful for us.
They, not to be the cynical one, but I absolutely saw that it was Obsidian saying this stuff, and I'm like, oh well, they're owned by Microsoft, so
yeah, for sure.
I mean, what are they gonna do? Come out and say like,
yeah, exactly. It's like this ruined our fucking business.
This is stupid.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it was like for Microsoft backed up with a dump truck full of gold bars apparently to purchase the studio allegedly, which I think is hilarious. But
I mean, the other thing Urquhart said that was far more exciting is that he wants to do another New Vegas before he retires, and I'm like, please do that.
That would be yes. I mean, look, Bethesda, they're under the same banner now. Like you can just do another New Vegas. Like it would sell gangbusters.
And you can do it on Game Pass cheaply. Like just carry over the assets from Fallout 4. We won't care.
Yeah, no one would care. No one would. You don't have to make Fallout 5.
No one would care. The internet never reacts badly for that kind of thing at all.
No, it's fine. It can look like absolute shit. You can have Craigs everywhere. It'll be fine. Yeah, I mean, like, not much of a story, but I just figured it was just interesting. There was also talk about how apparently Obsidian were at one time working on some sort of Rick and Morty game that kind of didn't go anywhere.
I mean,
and they definitely aren't now.
They should check in with that. That franchise is doing great.
Yeah,
like, I mean, there's no downsides to that at all.
I did see a tweet today, that was, with Roiland leaving Rick and Morty, they're going to have to recast, a lot of the voices, right?
Yeah.
And it's going to be really hard because no human has ever tried to do a Rick or Morty impression. So, unfortunately, there's no one's ever done one. So they're going to really struggle to find somebody.
You can't go on TikTok and see all the people trying it at all. No.
How many Pickle Ricks there are? Yeah. Hi, the TikTok
no one's
guy.
pulled it off.
Sure, exactly. Doesn't matter, right? I don't know. I mean, Rick and Morty seems like a kind of a weird. I mean, that even all the shit with Roiland going down, they're still going to continue that franchise, and he's left.
Oh yeah, no.
He's left.
Well, because it fits a niche market. Like people enjoy that sort of off-brand humor.
Yeah.
Even though it is like it's on that verge of like crass, but people love it, so it works.
Yeah.
Like it's still going to be really popular. It's just changing people.
Yeah, I mean, High on Life proves that obviously, like, there is still an appetite for that, obviously. And like, I really enjoyed that game. And they've also come out and said that Roiland's out from there as well, so they're going to continue to do.
Yeah, he resigned from that one.
Yeah,
which good for him. I mean, he did something right.
Yeah,
I hope so, because man, those people, like, sure, the audience may have an appetite for it, but the people that work on Rick and Morty and all those developers that put years of their life into High on Life,
100%. Yeah, having that talk
all because this idiot.
Yeah.
Like, you put in all this effort to just have this come back and be like, oh, okay, cool. Now we're associated with that guy.
I mean, imagine being in what's it called, Portkey Games, and working away at this amazing game that everyone will love, and this passion project, and you get on Twitter and go, "Oh, she said what today?" Oh, I'm sure that's fine. No,
and it's just such a controversial issue in its own self, and it makes it really hard because I get what people are saying about it and why people are wanting to boycott it, but I think that there's a point where it's like, well, I get it, but also I still want to play this game, and so it's really frustrating for me because I'm now being told by some people that I'm then not supporting and not being an ally to trans people because I want to play the game. And I'm like, but that's not it at all. That's
yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's very.
Well, is it people or Twitter? Because that's the two
Yeah,
very
yeah,
different
It
things.
is. These people are on Twitter. That is true. And like I
Yeah.
respect that, but also I want to play this game. It's like my entire childhood. My entire childhood is Harry Potter, so it's hard to disassociate that.
Loser?
It's oh,
Oh, okay.
Did you? Wait,
Oh, we-
I didn't lose you. Wait, did I? Maybe.
oh, we lost you for a second there, but
Okay,
yeah.
we're back. That's fine.
Um,
Yeah, my entire childhood is Harry Potter, so for me it's very difficult to separate that. But like,
yeah.
I actively
it's
do not
all
buy
right.
anything else that is Harry Potter related. And even this, I'm not buying this game. Someone else is buying it for me, and it was a gift. And I like, yeah, so it's like, how much do you justify it, and like, how much do you like?
Oh.
Are you losing me again? Yeah, maybe. Hang on.
Okay, I think we're good.
I think we're good. We good? We're back.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is that like, if you want to boycott an actor or an author or
Okay, the internet's.
whatever, right? Like, totally. Oh,
Yeah, no, I'm losing you. I don't know why. There's nothing else going on
Damn.
my computer, so I'm not sure what's going on.
danger. Will
Danger.
Robinson,
Danger. Oh no.
I don't know what's going on.
Do you need a life raft? Are you
There's nothing going on with my computer.
Oh, all right. Well, we'll try and push on then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like the thing that I've always said when, what was that? It was the side scroller that had Nolan North voicing it. Was the Metroidvania Shadow Complex.
Oh.
So Shadow Complex is part of is technically a licensed part of the Empire licensing series, which is by Orson Scott Card.
That.
So the guy who made Ender's Game, who is also an outspoken Mormon and bigot.
Mm.
Now I love Ender's Game and Speaking for the Dead and that whole series as a piece of art. But I can, it's very hard to support someone who is Mormon and is outspokenly anti-gay and so I can understand people being uncomfortable about that kind of stuff, but I think the thing is that games are worked on by so many people that if you want to make sure that your political alignment doesn't conflict with anyone who ever touches a video game, you're basically never going to play any game ever, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Be that from the developers, be that from publishers. It's you have like I do not begrudge anyone for drawing the line where they want to draw the line on, because it's up to you as a person, right? I'm probably going to play Hogwarts Legacy. I'm not a huge fan of JK and the things that she said, but she also didn't make the game. She created the universe, right? But they have been very clear to be like, she's not associated with the game at all. It's all completely original. They've made all the stuff themselves. Yeah, she'll make some money on it, but that I can live with that. I'll sleep at night. But
yeah, and the other thing as well is that like it's not that you're going to actually end up buying the game anyway.
I mean, I probably will, but
no. But let's face it, you're going to probably share it with me.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I mean,
it would make the most sense because then 3 people can play it rather than one person.
Sure.
Like, there's no point in buying it multiple times if you have access to it.
Sure.
That's
But I guess
I see it. I'm like, okay, that's minimizing how much we're getting back to her by also like mildly cheating the system.
You can buy
Yeah.
it 3 times then to make up for you're not buying it. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Yeah,
like to be
no,
fair,
you're
like
right.
yeah, it's a hard one. Like, and I'm not. Yeah, like I don't think there's a right answer. Um,
Just makes it
but
really hard, especially when I keep seeing like gameplay videos, and I'm like, this is the game that I've been wanting for such a long time.
yeah,
And the more
You
I
and
see
a
it,
lot
the
of
more
probably
videos.
trans kids. I mean,
Yeah.
like it bites. I mean,
Yeah.
if it would be different if Rowling had like come out and literally had written this story and she
Mm.
was developing it herself and releasing it,
It
then
would be
obviously
so
no,
different.
don't buy that.
Yeah, like
But
if it was
she's a
any,
good
if
few
she
steps
was
removed.
more connected to it, I would be way less inclined in actually wanting to play it. But because she's actually not involved, yes, she still gets royalties, but she's not involved. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah. But like I can understand people,
I
but
mean,
like getting on other people's cases for playing it, like
yeah. See
come on.
that I don't agree with that. That's the part that I'm like, I find very frustrating and like has made me sort of want to distance myself from some people because they've actively been like, no, you are like a dirt person if you want to play this game. You are like literally the scum of the earth if you're going to play it. And I'm like, that's not okay.
nope.
Imagine
Like,
having
Can't go either
laws
way.
in
Yeah.
2023.
Yeah. Anyway.
All right. Well,
Hopefully it
that's
comes to
pretty.
Game Pass. I mean, don't even worry about it.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We'll wait for it to come out.
That would ruin my Christmas present.
All right. Well, let's get into speaking of Game Pass. Let's get into what the updates there are. So, like we talked about, Hi-Fi Rush is now available. Came out on the 25th. We've had GoldenEye be added, which Cameron is enjoying greatly. I haven't jumped on it yet. Apparently, I've heard some mixed things. Some people who have the nostalgia goggles love it. Some people who are like, "Oh, I've heard of this thing. People love it, and I played it, and it's absolute shit."
I couldn't
I'm
imagine playing that without the nostalgia behind it. Oh my God, that must be a
right.
shock.
Yeah, like I played it a little bit as a kid, but yeah. We've got RoboQuest joining game preview on January 30th. We've got Age of Empires 2 on console, Illuminati and JoJo's Bizarre Adventures All-Star Battle are coming out on January 31st. We've got Darkest Dungeon coming to everything on February 2nd. Grid Legends coming to cloud, and then finally, apparently, Hot Wheels Unleashed Game of the Year edition might actually get released on February 7th. I don't know. They've moved it around Game Pass so many times.
I guess
It'll
we'll find out.
Yeah. And of course, things leaving. We've got Donut County, Telling Lies, Taiko Drum Master, and Worms WMD. If you're hearing this now, you've probably missed out because you've only got a couple more days. Donut County and Telling Lies are relatively easy completions, though, so you can speed through those.
Yeah, you can get those done.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into what we've been playing. Charlotte, you got anything
Not
you want to jump on?
really, actually, to be honest, because I've been so this week I've been hanging out with my brother and his wife and my niece, so I haven't really had any time for gaming at the moment. Not with a baby around. But I did finish another Porgy game, so that was pretty easy. I enjoy them because they're like word puzzles, so that I always find very interesting and fun. And that is what I've been gaming this week, which is not much.
No, fair enough.
Yep.
Shane?
Oh God, what's the week? So I did Saint Kotar, which was
Yes,
like
I was going to ask you about this.
so,
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was really curious about, okay, what are the games no one played last year? Like no one touched them. So I sorted. I also just happened to get a free month to GameFly, which is like a game rental service on the mail. So I was like, okay, I'll sort the list on TA and play those games. So Saint Kotor came up. God, how many people have started this game? It's like where is it? 54 people.
54.
Wow, okay.
This
Yeah.
game. So I was like, neat. So I rented it. I didn't know anything about it. It is a point and click adventure game. It's like horror. It's like a religious horror game.
Okay.
So you play as like a priest and his brother-in-law who have to return to a I think it's some Nordic village. And oh no, it's Croatian. It's a Croatian village. And pretty much there's a terrible crime. Your religion gets questioned. There's demons. It was okay. Story was neat. Achievement wise, very easy. Follow a guide. You can blow through the whole thing in a few hours. I think I spent 7 hours on it, so
Oh, okay.
probably a lot of idling on it. It was neat. I've sent that back. I also rented Zorro, which also no
Cool.
one played apparently. Yeah, and I really wanted to play it. It is a Series S game for some reason, Series SX or whatever.
Right.
I
Okay.
don't have one of those consoles with a disc drive, so I didn't
Oh,
play it. So I
right.
returned it immediately.
Oh, that
Whoops.
sucks.
It's weird that would be a
Yeah,
series
Yeah,
only
it's weirdly
game.
exclusive, I guess. Yeah.
that's
So
interesting.
I moved on to finally clearing up some of my dive games. So I went back to because I'm finally home most of the time, which has been
Yeah.
something I haven't been doing lately. So I jumped on Monkey Island, a
Yeah.
classic. Got through that real quick because that's a point and click too, so that doesn't take very long. 2 playthroughs, speed run, easy stuff. And then I also went back to Hour of Victory, which was absolute hot garbage.
Yep. Yep.
Cool.
That's the 360 one, right?
Yep. It's a
Yeah.
360 World War II shooter. It tries to be cool. There's like 3 characters you can pick as to play as in the beginning of each level. A sniper, a more tanky guy, and a sneaky, stabby. But it doesn't really matter. Like really the only big difference is that the other 2 are very squishy. And but even then, you can just sprint through the game. You can play on easy. I literally was sprinting from checkpoint to checkpoint, and just ignoring the enemies a lot of the time if I could. It was just bad.
Does the game have multiplayer?
Yes, that is actually why it's on my tag. Is I had it on my boost list on TA,
Okay.
and actually a year ago I got invited to a group to do it, and it's like 6 people.
That's
So
why I haven't done
was
it.
double
Yeah.
boxing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I was double boxing, and I got it done. I actually finished it up while I was away out of town for all that medical stuff. So getting back, all I had was a single player left, so I just blew through that quick. So.
Cool.
I think that's all I played. Because Cinco Tar was the main thing I think I started on Sunday.
I saw you got
yeah, Cinco
retweeted
Tar,
by
Cinco Tar,
Xbox
Cinco Tar.
playing that game.
Yeah, and the developer. Apparently they don't have much to
Cool.
do because they keep responding and liking all my tweets about the game.
Hey,
let's see,
you're
this
their
week. Oh, I
biggest
guess it's
fan.
technically. Yeah, I mean, yeah, totally. I guess I technically also finished Lords of the Fallen.
Oh,
So
yes. That was
cool.
So 4 playthroughs.
Yeah, 4 playthroughs, real great. I was so excited, man. I finally got that stupid broken achievement to pop. You have to beat the end boss with a weapon from the boss of the DLC.
Yeah.
The DLC dungeon is very annoying. So I got through that, got my weapon, didn't get my achievement on the first playthrough. Okay, that's annoying. Went through the second time, still didn't get the achievement on the boss. All right. Every time it's a new game plus. So new game plus, then new game plus. And it gets really hard. And that third playthrough, the end boss one-shots you like every time.
Oh, shit.
So I was really annoyed, and I finally got to pop. I beat him. I glitched it. I got it to pop, but then it erased my save.
No.
So I had to do a 4th playthrough because there's 3 ending achievements, and you have to equip a rune on your armor, not equip it, and on your weapon for the 3 different endings. For my first playthrough, I did it on my weapon, but I accidentally had the wrong weapon equipped. I was trying to get the DLC achievement, so I had the weapon from that equipped without the rune equipped, so I got the non-equipped ending. Cool. Second one, I got the armor one because I was just trying to. What was I trying to do? I was trying to beat it quick. No. I was trying to do the weapon again, so I had it on my armor this time, and I could use my weapon freely. Didn't get the achievement again.
Yeah.
Obviously, the third playthrough, I had to use the weapon again, and I couldn't equip the rune of my weapon because apparently that might get it so the achievement doesn't pop for either of them.
God.
So when it deleted my save, I had to play through one more time and equip it to weapon. But as I did it on stream, I only took me like 4 hours. I blew through it, and I had very little issues. So
the game is not super long, and it's also not overly difficult. But four is way too many times I have to play through that game.
Yeah, but from what I did, like you said, from what I heard, it's like baby's first Dark Souls. Like it's hard, and it kind of gets you into that mindset and the mechanics you have to do, but it's easy comparatively. So it's a little more actiony.
Yeah, definitely. So. I mean, if you're looking to keep going into the genre, they ended up working on The Surge, I think was the next thing they did, right? So
I think so. And they have the reboot, The Lords of the Fallen coming out because everyone loves doing that nowadays. So I don't know, maybe I'll get around to that. We'll see. I only did this because I've owned this game for a long time. back when I was actually buying games and stuff.
Yeah, I
Otherwise,
think
I'm
it
just
was
waiting
was
on
it
my.
like Games with Gold like way back or something, or am I
It actually might
like
have
one of the
been.
like
I'm not sure.
maybe not. I probably bought it for like $5 or whatever because it was on sale so often with the DLC.
I think Lords of the Fall might be one of those games that I bought really cheap, and then it went Games with Gold, and I'm like, I really need to stop buying video games unless I'm going to play them right away.
Yeah, sounds about right.
So, see, I'm actually waiting on two rentals. My next ones are Sharon's Staircase, which is another
Mm.
game by the same developer, so they're gonna love that.
Mm.
I'll be tweeting about that plenty. And then Endling Extinction is something about. I think he plays a fox or something.
Oh,
Extinction is Forever.
okay.
So those are the next two games I'll be doing, and it'll be fun because there are like no guides for these games. I'm really hoping that I can get through them actually.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, no kidding.
For me, Okami, like I already talked about, fantastic game, highly recommend. I got it done in about 37 hours, which is a little bit under the 40 to 50 hour estimate. So I'm pretty happy about that. I dig Signalis as much as anyone is doing Signalis at the moment. Thank you to Super Bob for that video guide that he put together. It was very helpful. Was looking for my next thing to play, and Cameron recommended that I do Loot River, which is on Game Pass. It is a very basic roguelite. You basically like it's your standard like go through the same sort of 4 levels, but they have some branching paths. You get randomized weapons, you get new abilities, and so most of the achievements are for basically finishing a normal run and then doing like the secret ending run. And then afterwards it's like level up all the weapons or unlock all the weapons. There is a trick. I will say the best way to do it is Cameron recommended getting the Mind Flayer weapon. Every time you do the charge attack with it, you get extra experience from all the enemies you do it on. So just keep doing that and you'll get heaps.
Cool.
And whenever you're leveling up, put your first level in Vitality because it gives you like 40% extra health, and then put everything else in Strength, and you'll just roll through the game with no problems.
Sweet.
I think I died to like one boss, and I wasn't having a great run. There's also a trick where if at the start of a run, again, I don't quite know how this works with the currency stuff, but at the start of a run, if you have a bunch of currency, a bunch of the knowledge stuff to buy weapons, you can buy the weapon, and as long as you've got enough to buy it, and then you basically go restart run, you get to keep the weapon and you get your knowledge back as well. So you can buy all the low cost stuff and then just grind out the high cost stuff if you don't have enough for it. So I did that with like 90% of what I needed, and I had like 5 or so weapons that were like 150 or 180 knowledge, and I only had like 110. So I did a couple of runs, got it all done. Took me about 4 or 5 hours. I think the estimate is like 12 to 15 or something like that. So like that trick will cut your time down a lot. Yes, and also it has an easy mode that you can put on that makes the enemies do less damage. I actually forgot to put that on, and I was still blazing through it, so it's actually relatively straightforward. I definitely did put it on for my last run because I was like, "Fuck that! I'm not." As soon as I saw it, I was like, "Wait a minute, this doesn't seem to be." Because one of the things is like whenever you level up, if you have easy mode on, you get full health back, and I leveled up, and I got like half my health back. I'm like, "Wait a minute," and I went in and I was like, "Oh no, it's not checked." Cool. So I checked that and then just breezed through it. Really, really easy game.
That's definitely a game I was very interested in watching everyone do because I have absolutely turned that on and then backed out. Like, nah, I'm not feeling this. So it's good to know that it's not terrible.
Yeah.
I
had the same thing where I was like, I started it and I was like, not my kind of game. But yeah, it's actually.
I forget what game I started instead, but yeah, I absolutely backed out of that before. I'm like, no, I'll play something else. It's fine.
Yeah, it took me a couple of goes to kind of get a feel for it, but it's relatively straightforward. The main thing I've been working on has been Hard Space Shipbreaker. This game is great. Everyone needs to play this. Really chill.
Games I want to play.
Yeah, this one's really. Again, I was kind of like looking at like my play later list of like what haven't I started, what do I want to work on. It's good to play it now because the title update it has one of those title updates that basically just slot into the regular story, so it isn't any additional content really. So it sucks if you played it when it first came out because you basically have to replay it. But if you're playing it now. If you're playing it now, like I finished it in less than 20 hours, and like I got both of the lists, the main list and the tier list done. Because you basically just go from like level 1 to 20, leveling yourself up by cutting up shipwrecks. So the whole idea is that you are a shipbreaker. So you have been hired basically through some sort of indentured servitude, because as soon as you sign up for the Lynx Corporation to basically cut up scrap ships and basically sort them into like certain metal components that like are raw materials go in the furnace. Anything that's like nanocarbon goes in the processor for them to reuse and recycle. And then anything else that's like valuable electronics or anything like seats or upholstery, anything like that, you want to put it into a barge so they can just take it away and resell it. And so you have a bunch of tools at your disposal. You're kind of floating around in zero G in space, and you kind of just go around with a cutting tool, being like, okay, well, here's all these cutting points. And there's like, it is a really, really satisfying game, especially if you play it on like easy with like no timer and no oxygen depletion. You only have to worry about like fuel, which is like really cheap. You can basically just go through a ship, going through the airlock, and it's like, okay, well, I know I can see, it's a small ship. I can see all the cut points on the side, cut. And then it's like, okay. And then you just have this amazing feeling where like you cut the last one and just the pieces just drift apart a little bit. The cladding comes off the side and you just grapple it with you have like a tether grapple, and you just fling it into a furnace or fling it wherever you need to go. It's really, really fun. It's like you start with like just like a standard cutter and like a scanner. You have the grapple, and you eventually get like demo charges as well. So if you need to like blow through a wall or like get through something that's like has like a higher cut rating, you can kind of do that. It does get a little bit like samey because like there's only so much variety in the ships that you'll cut, and you'll spend a lot of time on them. But it's got kind of like cool music, and it's very, very chill. And it's very, very sad. It has a very, very sort of satisfying feeling of just like cutting things up and putting them into piles, and like it's got a very like checklist kind of feel to it. And as you go through it, they kind of add new challenges. So it's like starting off, it's like, okay, well, there are electrical hazards because they haven't taken the power cores, or they haven't taken the power core out of this ship. So you need to go through it, and before you start pulling out the electronics, or you can do if you want, but go through like try and find a way to the like in between the hull and the living quarters of the ship, try and find where the power is plugged in so you can pull that out first before you start ripping out the electronics so you don't electrocute yourself. Coolant you need to worry about. There's fire hazards. You need to learn how to pull nuclear reactors out without them detonating. And then there's things like some ships are still pressurized, so it's like, yeah, you can like cut right into it, but if it depressurizes, everything inside is just going to get ripped out, and if you're in the middle of it, you're just going to get killed. And it's cool. So like they just keep adding like new things, new challenges, and new sort of tweaks on kind of like how you have to take these ships apart and kind of the little intricacies. And it is really like, I've done the thing where it's like you've got the laser cutter and you're trying to cut around something, and suddenly it's like, oh, you nick a fuel tank and suddenly the whole thing just fucking explodes and you just get flung out into space. And the game has a really good sense of humor to it as well. It's very like corporate, like it's like 200 years in the future, and you sign up for the Lynx Corporation, which is like there's kind of like Amazon. And you as soon as you sign up, they make a genetic copy of you, so when you die, they just reclone you, and they're like, yeah, it's like 99% safe, don't worry about it. But the thing is, like, they tack a shitload of fees on, so the minute you start, you're about like $1 billion in debt. And they're like, yeah, cool, work off your debt. And so the whole thing is that like there's a very like very corporate, like they have a part where someone starts talking about a union, and suddenly like an administrator comes in, and it's like union busting, and like everything gets like it's got like a really interesting kind of story to it that's actually like quite good. I would definitely recommend playing it. And the achievements are relatively straightforward. Like you won't struggle to get them at all. So that's the main thing I've been playing. And then the last thing is I finished Shipbreaker. I was like, what the fuck else am I going to play on Game Pass? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give Bard's Tale Trilogy a try. Oh boy.
Yeah, how are you finding that one?
So like this is literally just the A-Bio trilogy. Like, not bad. It is a great game. It's old. Oh shit, am I losing you guys? Oh, hang on.
No, we're back.
We're good. Okay. It's not bad. The game is built on grinding. and just like you basically this first person you walk around like square to square to square, in that sort of like Daggerfall, Stranger in Sword City, all those kinds of like classic games. And then it's like, yeah, it's suddenly like, oh, you stumble upon, a bunch of orcs, and you just got to like choose your commands to fight them. And you have like, you've got like your 4 melee guys at the front and your 2 mages at the back is my setup and that kind of stuff. The game is built on grinding. Like you basically just have to grind a shitload. But it also has like spells that like break everything. So like there is like there's a teleport spell that you get at like level 13 with one of your mages. And it's like, yeah, you put in the coordinates for where you want to go, you can teleport to the end of the dungeon and just walk up the stairs or whatever, if within reason. There are some places that have anti-magic fields and stuff, but it's like, yeah, the game is really punishing because it's like square by square by square, and it's like you walk onto a trap, it's like, oh yeah, your guy just died. And you're like, oh cool, that's great. It's going to cost me a shitload of gold to revive them. But it's really addictive. Like I can tell why this kind of game was like, why this really appealed to people, because it's the fight monsters, see the numbers go up, like explore dungeons, map things out. Like it's got I can definitely see like how addictive and like why it's sort of, why they did 3 of them or 4 of them now. I'm still playing the first one of the trilogy. It's a combined list, but the nice thing is that you can carry your characters across between them because they've kind of tweaked it to make it like one full adventure. It's going to take me a little while to do. I've got more grinding to do. I've got to level up characters. You have random stat rolls when you level up, so you got to do the classic save scumming thing of being like, okay, well, I need to get my constitution up, so I'm just going to roll until, I'm just going to keep reloading until it gives me a constitution level up, but also I need to make sure I get enough hit points from the level up as well to make it worthwhile. So it's a lot of RNG involved. But I just can't stop playing it. It's it's really interesting. I might end up playing the 4th one depending on how this trilogy goes.
Cool.
Is the 4th one newer? I feel like that's a new one, actually.
Yeah. So I think in Exile, I think they did it back in like 2018 or something. It's like you can buy it on Steam and everything, so it's a lot more updated. Same sort of mechanics, obviously, very like same sort of gameplay, but looks a lot nicer. Because this is like 80s. Like you have like when you go into a battle, you have an image of a skeleton standing there with a sword. And
oh, spooky.
Basically, it's like, you fight. It just says like you fight death itself, and then it's basically like there's no animations, or like there is a little bit of animation of like, the picture animates between 2 different things. It's like or like there's the guy with the guy with the lute just strumming one. Yeah, like so it's really really basic. Like it is super old school. It is as close to no graphics as basically you can possibly get, but I'm enjoying it for the most part.
I always forget that series existed before the 2008 PS2 version. Like
right. Exactly right. Because you have because at the moment you've got like the Bard's Tale Adventure, the ARPG, that's on Game Pass as well, which is like the sort of actiony Diablo style.
Yeah, it's called like re-snorkeled or remastered and re-snorkeled version.
Yeah, because I think that was originally like a PlayStation 2 release as well back in the day, back when they Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance did all that and that kind of stuff around that genre. But yeah, this is a very different kind of game. And I'm probably going to play more of it. I just kind of like I think it's going to be like my kind of like go-to like grind game when I don't really have anything else to play. Because it's just going to be relatively mindless. Walkthrough on TA is pretty good though. Anyway, and that's me pretty much. So yeah, a few things. I'm kind of looking forward to like what my next project is going to be, because I need something I really want to sink my teeth into. Might end up being Hi-Fi, I think. Based around the reviews, I don't know if it's going to be GoldenEye.
Hi-Fi is one of those rare games. I watched the trailer. I'm like, I want to play this. And I'm like, no, wait, I'll wait for the achievements. I'll wait to see some guides. But I almost started it right away. That looks so cool.
It does.
And GoldenEye, that just gives me Perfect Dark PTSD. I don't know if I want to do that to myself again.
Yeah, right. Oh, I still need to do Perfect Dark. Fucking Rare Replay Collection is just the gift that keeps on giving. All right. Charlotte, you want to go through our leaderboards?
Yeah, absolutely. And then I've also got our completions as well. So in our leaderboard this week, in 3rd place, we have the Moonzom with 12,705 gamer score. In 2nd place, we have Thrash Forever with 13,275. And in 1st place, we have Warlord Ethan with 14,490. So he's making a wee comeback in there. With Vampire Survivors It's like
right.
just right in there with Vampire Survivors. I've seen a few videos on their TikTok, and they've just been like racing through it. Cool. And then incompletions for the last week, we have the Moon's on with a bunch of games. So Metal Hellsinger, Solos, Reactor X, Signalis, New Super Lucky's Tale, Gungrave Gore, and Last Call BBS. Natolinator with Street Outlaws The List, Mekarama, The Gunk, and House Flipper. Shadowless Edge with Iris Fall, Escape Academy, Hello Neighbor 2, Far Changing Tides, Signalis, and Infinax. Aftos completed Tribes of Midgard. Hack and Pone reached 200,000k gamer score. Rapture completed Lego Brawls, Nobody Saves the World, and Hello Neighbor 2. Super Bob with Signalis, which he created that guide, the video guide for, which is a really big thank you from our community. He got the information from Lance McDonald from Twitter, so that is pretty cool. And he also completed Tunic after finding a debug menu, which I have opinions on that one, but that's okay. But that's mostly because I love Tunic, and I hope that people actually do play it normally. But I can understand.
I feel kind of the same way about Signalis. I played a little bit of that on my alt, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to actually get through this.
Signalis, yeah. I played a little bit of it as well. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah, like
the Tunic debug's been patched, by the way. So.
Which is okay. That's cool. That's good. Like from an interesting background knowledge point of view, it's kind of cool. But also, I love Tunic, so I do hope that people actually play it. Yeah. Astrodark with Kentucky Route Zero and Dead Cells, Professor Pluto with Hello Neighbor 2, Divine Fear with Minecraft, Berserk Lemon with Need for Speed Heat, Saint Yates with Somerville, Anubis with Grand Theft Auto 3, Valexia with Gnome's Garden 2, Just Jake SD with Tropico 3, Dish with Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Dish is on a major Call of Duty run at the moment.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Chin Doctor with Tycho. Happy Moogles with Rocket Arena. Bulbasaur with Dead or Alive 5 last round. Baron von Neumann hit 900k, so only 100,000 till million, which is pretty cool. Drunken Monkeys with Loot River and Vobolt with The Walking Dead.
And then also Professor Pluto also finished up Paradise Killer, which I highly recommend. Yeah. Everyone needs to play that game. Partly because it's probably going to be leaving Game Pass pretty soon, but also because it's just...
it's probably going to be my leaving Game Pass game, I mean.
Yeah. But also because I need more people to talk about that game with.
Yeah.
All right. And then I guess we'll get into the word challenge. So if you don't know what the word challenge is, basically every month or so I come up with a game. And I set it up in our bot in a channel on our Discord, discord.io/HawleyGamers, where you can go and guess what the game is. And if you win $20 New Zealand or roughly whatever your equivalent currency is. We'll do the conversion later. You win a prize. Every week I give a clue. The clues range from completely unhelpful to this is super obvious. You have about 5 options, depending on how long it's been since someone's tried to guess. So we set up a new one last week, and the clue was Australia, which is not a very helpful clue. No, I'll tell you right now.
That's a very Kirby-esque clue.
Yes. Well, people asked for a Kirby-style clue, so I gave them one.
They did want one.
But this week I've been a little bit nicer and said that this game is part of a series that's had over 4 different developers. So there's a few logical conclusions you can probably pull from that. That'll help narrow down your search, but probably not by too much. But it's part of a series. It is one game within the series. I'm not going to tell you what the game is, so that helps a little bit. But I want to see some guesses in the word challenge channel. If you get it, the GIF's going to come up. If you guess the witness, a different GIF is going to come up, probably telling you that you're a fucking idiot because it's never the witness.
It's never Lucas.
All right. Let's move on to our patrons.
Yes. Let's have a look. Do we have the list?
Can you get closer to that?
Yes,
man.
Yeah, we got the list here. So our patrons at the moment, we have Lee Howard, Mikhail KV, Chapter, Natolinator, Firehawk, Mad Lefty, G Spaceman, Admiral Awesome, Keo, Happy Boogles, Kung Fu Skills, Hack and Pone, Cavaliers07, Old Mate Clown, Mark B, and McLovin Legend.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, guys, for your support, including you, Shane, because we literally would not be able to afford to do the show without you, because we've got to pay for things like Zoom. The Zoom license is coming up next month.
Zoom's
and
the
that's
killer.
$250 there somewhere that we've got to pay for. Zoom is a killer. And then we're also got to pay for Buzzsprout for distribution and all that kind of stuff. And along with, and obviously we want to try and give as much of that back as we can through our competitions and things like that. And if you're on the Patreon, you might have seen that we've started uploading I've started uploading the Song of the Week earlier. So the patrons get an early listen on what it is before it goes live on the show. You can also get an idea of how late I write the Song of the Week, depending on when it gets posted. So, for example, last night,
like an hour before the podcast, or
it was about 10 p.m. last night that I wrote that one. So that one turned out okay, but it was you know. I'm going to try and get a bit better about writing them a little earlier now. Nothing improves productivity like a looming deadline. And we're also doing our outtakes for the show as well. So the sort of beginning and end stuff after we kind of do our sign off and all those other bits and pieces. I will warn you, it's not going to be terribly exciting. It's usually just going to be us kind of gas bagging about kind of what we want to talk about that week and looking at technical issues.
Yeah, but if usually.
If that stuff does interest
really
you,
offensive stuff.
yeah, right. Although I edit out the stuff that's really bad.
Yeah.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
Censorship. I don't like it.
No, exactly.
No, that
censorship.
stuff is never censored. So the patrons get everything uncensored and unfiltered. So
yeah. So if
Not
you guys
safe for
are
work.
interested in that, we do offer that on our Patreon. I'm putting all this stuff up.
Wild swearing earlier today.
Yeah, exactly. I'm putting all this stuff up as just like any tier Patreon can get access to it, because it's not really about like how much money you guys give us. Any support we greatly appreciate. We want to offer as much as you can.
But if you want t-shirts, we have those cool t-shirt designs.
More shows in the future. I'm hoping to do a few more like spoiler casts and thous. Obviously with it just being Char tonight at the moment. We're just trying to juggle things a little bit, make sure we have guests like our wonderful Shane here. Things like that works. All right. And like we said, you can come hang out with us on our community Discord. Hall of Gamers is the place to find us. Live on Twitch every week. Xbox Gamers. Otherwise, you can contact us. Otherwise, Hall of Gamers podcast at gmail.com. Ownership post. Otherwise, help the podcast out in other ways. Subscribe to us on your platform of choice. Leave us a review. Tell your friends. Word of mouth, as always, is huge for us. And if you'd like to be on the show, Charlotte has set up a wonderful form that you can fill out, and we can put you into the schedule.
We'll just message you the map.
And if you're writing questions, you can send them to any of those channels. Although we have, basically, I mean, we're relatively chill about it. And we've got a questions channel on our Discord. Otherwise, next week on the show. All right.
I don't exist. But if you do have to find me, I am on Twitter under AudreyChar, on Xbox under AudreyChar, and then on Twitch I am Charmandosaurus_Rex. It's dying.
And Discord. Thank you to our wonderful guests. Thank you, Shane, for joining us, especially at the last minute. We really appreciate you stepping in and helping us
Absolutely.
out. Thank you, Charlotte, for battling through both terrible internet and audience. And thank you to our Patreons for supporting us. And thank you to all you who are listening and watching. See you later.